You are watching yet another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. It's Wednesday, Friday, or Saturday, and you know what those days mean. It's time for another AEW Event Center report for either Dynamite, Rampage, or Collision. And now, here is the host of the AEW Event Center Wrestling Report, New Bedford's version of Tony Schiavone, Eric M. Lima.
Thank you very much, Mr. Announcer, sir. Well, hello there, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans, 1977. Episode 1884 of the show. How's it going, everybody? Now we got two events I want to talk about. This is not a Shenanigans special, like double feature. It's going to be dominated by AEW Rampage first. Then I'm going to talk about the results from TNA's Final Resolution. And I didn't get a chance to watch it. I decided, well, I'm still going to report on it. So... But let's talk about AEW Rampage first before we continue on. Matt Cardona, who was preparing for his title match against Chris Jericho, as Chris Jericho defends the Ring of Honor World title at Final Battle against Matt Cardona. Chris Jericho was joining on commentary as Matt Cardona took on the Bad Apple Brian Keith. And and Matt Cardona did pick up the victory over the Bad Apple, and which Chris Jericho would not be very happy about. Meanwhile, Harley Cameron decided to cut a promo for Shop AEW, but grabbing her guitar and singing. Now, she's a very beautiful young lady. She can sing. She's got the beauty of the late, great Olivia Newton-John, the singing talent of Kylie Minogue, and she sang the 12 days of Shop AEW, where she says 5 t-shirts of me, or something like that. Which, she's hilarious. I love Harley Cameron. And also, it's a battle of my favorite Aussie Angels, once again, as Toni Storm, the rocker Toni Storm, as she took on Harley Cameron one-on-one. And, before the match went to the commercial break, Harley Cameron screamed, "We'll be right back if this idiot remembers who she is." I'm like, oh, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that, Harley. But these ladies battled it out. In fact, Harley Cameron's really improved. But Toni Storm did end up winning the matchup. And tonight she'll be on Collision once again as she takes on Shazza McKenzie. Meanwhile, Brody King cut a promo on Commander for the Continental Classic. It'll be a heck of a matchup. Speaking of Shazza McKenzie, she took on Deonna Purrazzo, and Deonna Purrazzo ended up winning that matchup. Alex Marvez interviewed Chris Statlander, and Chris Statlander kind of explains that she still wants to be TBS champion, so she'll keep an eye on the matchup between Mercedes Moné and Anna Jay, and whoever wins, she gets another crack at it. So... Tony Schiavone interviewed the Don Callis family, and he addresses the Kansas City crowd. And then Kyle Fletcher does the same thing. Powerhouse Hobbs and Mark Davis interrupts the Don Callis family. As the main event, they took on each other. You know, they teamed up. A former Aussie Open teammate of Kyle Fletcher's, Mark Davis, teaming up with Powerhouse Hobbs, a former member of the Don Callis family, to take on Konosuke Takeshita, the international champion, and Lance Archer. Hobbs and Davis did pick up the victory while Don Callis was on commentary. Takeshita tried to attack him with the title, but got dropped by Hobbs after the matchup, and Powerhouse Hobbs ended up lifting up the title. So Toni Storm's first match back, she gets a victory over her fellow Aussie, Harley Cameron, and they're both from Gold Coast, Australia. So, you know, I would like to see them two team up in calls of the Gold Coast Connection. That's what I like to see. Center stage, Atlanta, Georgia. We're talking TNA Final Resolution. And the first matchup to kick things off, Leon Slater versus JDC, Johnny Dango Curtis, if you guys don't. And Johnny Dango Curtis decided to do a little cheating, putting his feet on the ropes to get the victory over Leon Slater. And GM Miller then reports that Hammerstone was unable to compete in tonight's three-way tag team matchup. And Jake something doesn't bother him. He says he'll go in alone. He decided to compete without a partner against the Rascals and the team of PCO and Sami Callihan. But and we found out that Hammerstone needs surgery, and that was the thing. Meanwhile, Jonathan Gresham took on Frankie Kazarian, and this was a heck of a matchup. And then Kazarian decided to resort to some cheating, thumb to the eye, and Gresham, and then he slapped Gresham with the chicken wing, which Kazarian did pick up the victory in that matchup. And then the X Division title was on the line. Moose Moose defended against Kushida, and so Moose ended up picking up the victory over Kushida. And AJ Francis was interviewed by GM Miller, and he says he vows to defeat Nick Nemeth for the TNA World Title, and that's the way it is. Now, three-way tag match: the Rascals, PCO, and Sami Callihan, and Jake something. So he goes it alone, but the Rascals did pick up the victory. Over both PCO, Sami Callihan, and Jake something. But then the number 23 makes a mysterious appearance again. Who is this 23? Is it a group? Is it a person? We don't know. That's the weird part. And then the Rascals decided to have their sights set on the tag team titles. Rascals and the Hardys. That's going to be a heck of a matchup. Let's get it. Let's get that match made. And then Eric Young approaches Steve Macklin and says, hey, the Fatal 4-Way number 1 contenders match. Eric Young has Macklin's back. Ace Austin took on Trent Seven. And Ace Austin wears a Lewa Love Base shirt. Trent Seven decided to rip it apart. And got Austin angry. And that was a mistake on Seven's part. And then Austin decided to honor both his partner and himself, as he connected with the Art of Finesse and the Fold to beat Trent Seven. It seems like Chris Bay was fighting alongside Ace Austin. Get well soon, Chris Bay. We miss you. We love you. And then Jordynne Grace versus Rosemary. Here's where the fun really begins. The two were going at it. And then two went at it. Jordynne Grace had the match won when she hit the Muscle Buster. But then, when the referee made the 3 count, a masked assailant pulls the referee out of the ring and starts attacking Jordynne Grace. And this person started beating the heck out of Jordynne Grace. Who would be crazy to do that, right? And so it ends up in a no contest because guess who was the assailant who attacked Jordynne Grace? Tessa Blanchard. I'm not kidding you, because lots of reports saying that she signed up with TNA. Now, a lot of people are up in arms about this because of what happened with her 4 years ago. She held the title, and then she made racist remarks against another wrestler. A lot of things have changed since over those 4 years. So, hoping she has changed. I say give her a chance. Let's see what she can do with it this time around. But I think, and I think in a lot of, reports too that Jordynne Grace is rumored when her contract expires, she may go to the WWE and probably on her way out do a program with Tessa Blanchard. But she's pushed back on that. We'll see what happens. But then Gia Miller was interviewing Tessa Blanchard, says she's back and she's coming what's for hers. Shoves Gia Miller. Rough attitude all around. But, like I said, the shock of seeing Tessa Blanchard back on TNA, on a TNA programming, it's really crazy. to say the least. I have to consider what she did. And then Jordan Grace responded to what Tessa Blanchard did, and Jordan Grace is ticked off. Don't want to make Jordan Grace mad, kids, because I'll tell you one thing: she'll bang you into a pretzel and break every bone in your body. Just thank God, I just thank God she's married, because imagine me married to Jordan Grace. I'd be like, if I do anything wrong, she's gonna put me in the hospital. But I respect Jordan Grace, though. There's no doubt. Well, Fatal 4-Way. Fatal 4-Way, Joe Hendry, Josh Alexander, Mike Santana, and Steve Macklin. Eric Young went on commentary for this matchup. And and Hendry ended up winning the matchup by hitting Alexander with a standing ovation. So Joe Hendry gets a shot at the title. And he's going to TNA Genesis as number one contender for the TNA World Championship. And, so the TNA Knockouts World title in a Falls Count Anywhere matchup. And before the match even began, Santino Marella decided to ban Alicia Edwards from the building. In fact, she carried, he carries Alicia to the back, and Alicia was escorted out by security, and they locked the gate right behind her. She's still screaming. That's hilarious. And security was surrounding the ring, and Slamovich decided to hit the Requiem Pile Driver to retain the title against Tasha Steelz. Masha Slamovich declared that she's still TNA World Champion. TNA Knockouts World Champ. Tag team title on the line in a tables match up the system. And so in a tables matchup, and Brian Myers was the first. Matt Hardy was the first one to go through a table, and then he even scored by hitting Myers through a table. But then, and then Eddie Edwards was sent to a table, and the Hardys retained the titles. So, and then the main event: Nick Nemeth against AJ Francis for the makes the main event. AJ Francis, Nick Nemeth, Frankie Kazarian joined on commentary in this matchup, and and both men did whatever it took to try to become a champion, but Nick Nemeth did retain the title, and then Casey Navarro attacks Nemeth after a matchup. Joe Hendry evens things up, but both grab the title and go face to face. So this is going to be an interesting situation nonetheless. So that's all the time we have on this show. For another episode of the show. Episode 1884 has been complete. Thank you for tuning in to the show. And up next, some card strikes. I have yet to do some card strikes today. So thank you, and until next episode comes rolling around, Mr. Announcer, take us home.
That is all for today's episode. This is your announcer speaking for Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. A Big Beefy E, doing for Bob Saget Productions, and in association with A Raven Bofa Telepictures and Distribution. Thank you for watching today's episode. Tune in next time for another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. Goodbye for now.